Welcome to this week's episode of the Inside Kingston Podcast, where experienced professionals, entrepreneurs, and community leaders based in Kingston upon Thames are invited on to share their story with us. I'm your host, Amir Rocha-Lima.
This week's episode of the Inside Kingston Podcast is brought to you by Holland, Harlan Wills, a financial planning and wealth management firm based in Kingston upon Thames. Holland, Harlan Wills specialises in retirement planning for senior professionals and successful business owners. Visit hhw-uk.com to start feeling more relaxed and confident about your financial future.
Thank you for joining us for another episode of the Inside Kingston Podcast. I'm joined today by Caroline Giaconella. Caroline is a life and meditation coach that helps busy and overwhelmed women find clarity and define their purpose so they can create the life they desire with happiness and confidence. What's unique about Caroline is how she uses the emotional freedom technique, a non-invasive therapy that aims to release emotional blockages within the body's energy system. And be sure to listen to the end, where Caroline shares with us a mindfulness exercise to help you work through some of the obstacles you may encounter throughout your day. So whether you're interested in knowing more about life coaching or would like to know more about what it takes to run a successful independent business, then I hope you enjoy this episode of the Inside Kingston Podcast. Welcome, Caroline Giaconella, to the Inside Kingston Podcast. Caroline, I'm really excited about this conversation because during these months in lockdown, I've actually rediscovered my love for meditation. And I think that our listeners can learn a lot from your experience in this area. But to kick off this conversation, I'd like to go back in time, if that's okay. So, Caroline, where did you grow up?
So, as you can hear with my accent, I did not grow up in Kingston. I'm French from Grenoble, so it's southeast of France in the mountain. And I've been living in Kingston for the last 13 years.
Wow, that sounds amazing. How was growing up in that part of France? I bet it was lovely, wasn't it?
If you like the mountains, it's a nice place to live. If you like skiing and the outdoors, otherwise it's quite a small city. So it's hard to go back now when I think about going back to Grenoble. There's not much to do.
Fair enough. And did you go to university? And if so, what did you study?
So yes, I did go to university and I studied marketing, which I did not use because I started working in a travel agency right after uni.
Oh, wow. Okay, that's interesting. So could you tell us a little bit about your career journey to date?
Of course. So yes, after uni, I found a job in a travel agency and I've been working in travel for 15 years. I was working in a travel agency here in London. And one day I decided to become self-employed. So I became an independent travel agent. Mm-hmm. And I have learned so much. It was truly life-changing. I learned a lot about myself, about people in general. So I retrained. I did a new training, and I became a life coach. Mm-hmm. And at the beginning of this year, I did the meditation course as well.
Absolutely. And Caroline, I definitely want to pick on a few threads on this pivot that you did in your career to becoming a meditation and life coach. For the benefit of our listeners, I guess if we start with emotional freedom technique, could you give us a summary of what that's all about?
So emotional freedom technique, it's known as tapping as well. Mm-hmm. It's a mind and body tool that clears any kind of physical or emotional energy block from our system. Mm-hmm. All we need is tapping with our fingers in different points on the body. And it's non-invasive, it's gentle, it's no side effect. You can't go wrong with EFT, and it can help with a lot of things.
That's amazing. It sounds a bit like it uses some of that framework from acupuncture, but without the needles. Would that be sort of a gross comparison or a gross way of stating it?
Yes, it has been compared with acupuncture, yes. I have tried acupuncture myself, but I have this fear of needle and I did not find it relaxing. That's when I came across EFT. And it's a gentle approach. So you tap and you have a chat with the practitioner, trying to really be precise on what you want to improve.
Caroline, that's really interesting. And in fact, I think I saw your motto on LinkedIn as change your mindset, change your life. And that really struck a chord with me. So again, for the benefit of our listeners, are there any exercises, be it meditation or otherwise, that you go through with your clients that perhaps you could take our listeners through in this podcast?
Absolutely. One of the most powerful mindfulness tool I know is just taking 5 minutes to sit with yourself and really think about something you want to overcome. So if you're, let's say, stressed at the moment, just take a deep breath, sit down in a quiet place, and just think about the situation where you're stressed and imagine that it's going as well as it can be. So if you talk to everyone, everyone is super nice with you, everything goes very well. It will change the mindset, your mindset for the whole day.
I think that's incredible. And it almost goes back to the simplicity of perhaps just putting a smile in your face and feeling how that smile changes even the rest of your body language. And I guess you're doing that in a way that's a little bit more powerful, because it's asking the listener to think about something that's bothering them, but imagining the situation sorting itself out. Is that's what you're saying?
Yes, it's absolutely that. Our mind cannot stop. They are always in motion. So we need to feed our mind something very positive so it can focus on something you want to see achieve rather than a worry, which will probably not happen. But just keep the negative going. So yes, that's the power of the positive mind.
That's fantastic. Caroline, could you give us an example of how you have helped a client with your work, just so our listeners can perhaps relate it to this themselves?
Yes, I had a client this week. She was really, really stressed about talking in public. Just with 3 or 4 persons, it was impossible for her to talk. And of course, she tried to push herself, but sometimes it's just not possible. It doesn't work. So with the EFT, emotional freedom technique, we just removed this block. And she said at first, I did not think it worked because you do not feel a big relief in your body. There's no change that you can notice. But the next time she was at it was for a networking meeting, and she managed to speak, and she, without even thinking about it. So that's when she came back to me and said, actually, I did not believe in EFT, but it really worked.
and sometimes these things, that's fascinating. And sometimes I guess these mindset techniques work in ways that aren't necessarily felt physically immediately anyway, but they play out as you play that mindset out throughout your day or throughout that public speaking opportunity, for example. Would that be right?
Absolutely. It's not you. When you have a fear of public speaking, for example, you don't always feel it in your body. It's really when you are in the situation. So even if you do exercises before, you don't have like a aha moment. Oh, I'm not scared anymore. It's really but when you are in the situation, the next time you are in the situation, that's when you notice that, yes, you made the real progress.
Caroline, I understand that you also run a networking event in Kingston on a regular basis. I think it's called Ladies Who Latte. Could you tell us a little bit about where that idea came from and how it actually works in practice?
Yes, absolutely. So Ladies Who Latte is a free networking meeting. We meet every month in Kingston for a coffee and a chat, and to promote our businesses, to build connections, and yes, of course, promote ourselves. So Ladies Who Latte, there are groups all over the UK, but there was none in Kingston. So when I came across their website, I thought, oh, that's my chance to open a new group in here. I'm quite passionate about empowering women, so it's a great opportunity to get the ladies together and to build that confidence in talking about ourselves, talking about the business. So we used to meet before lockdown once a month for a coffee. Now we are doing it online, and I'm really hoping we can resume the face-to-face meeting probably in September, to be confirmed, of course.
Yeah, I really like that, Caroline. It goes without saying that I'm a massive believer in empowering people to be able to promote themselves, be able to tell their story, and then be able to share that with the world. That's one of the reasons for me setting up the Inside Kingston podcast. So I really applaud you on that group there. That sounds like great fun.
It is great fun. It is, yes.
What are some of the key business lessons you've learned throughout your life?
It might sound a bit strange, but don't concentrate on business only. When I decided to become self-employed and I started being a independent travel agent, I was so focused on business and what can I do? And I thought I didn't realize I was totally losing my confidence and kept repeating to myself, oh, I don't know what to do. I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to do that. And of course, I didn't have the answer because I was sure I did not know how to do that. Since I changed and I became a coach, I learned that mindset is 50% of our business. Now I do trust that I can succeed, and it has made a huge change in my everyday routine and in my business.
That's fantastic. When you look back at your career journey to date, what are you most proud of?
I'm quite proud that I'm following my dreams. When I was younger, I thought I had to work in corporate, like climb the corporate ladder, as we say, and follow my parents' step. That's not the how do you say? Sorry, that's not the only. That's not the career path for everybody. We can be self-employed, we can do our passion work and still get an income for that. So I'm quite proud that I'm following my dreams.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, that's definitely something to be proud of. Caroline, what next for you and your business? Are there any projects in the pipeline that you can tell us about?
Absolutely. So I used to run classes and workshops that we cannot meet in face-to-face at the moment, so we had to stop. So I'm putting an online program together where I'm building a community where we can still enjoy everybody's energy and experiences, but all online. So it's also an opportunity to meet people from far away, not only in Kingston or not only in in the UK, it can be all over the world, really.
Exciting times ahead.
Absolutely, yes. Very excited.
Very cool. As we start to wrap up, I'd like to ask you a few quick fire questions that our listeners are always interested in. So, Caroline, what do you do to relax outside of the office?
Well, not much. Quite the simple pleasures. Just meet up with family and friends, read a good book, or creative activities like knitting and sewing.
Oh, fantastic. And talking of books, are there any that you've recently read that you'd recommend to our listeners?
I am reading You Can Heal Your Life from Louise Hay at the moment. Mm-hmm. I highly recommend the book. She has a good insight into the human brain or our belief system.
All right, that sounds interesting. Finally, where can people go to find out more about you and your business?
So I have a website which is b-flamingo.com. So I'm Caroline from Flamingo. I don't know if I said before. Facebook, if you want more information about Ladies Who Latte in Kingston, or Flamingo on Facebook as well.
Fantastic. And for the benefit
or Instagram, Flamingo, where.
And for the benefit of our listeners, I'll make sure I add these resources to the show notes. Caroline, thank you for joining us here on the Inside Kingston podcast. It's been a pleasure getting to know your story.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure chatting with you today.
That wraps up another episode of the Inside Kingston podcast. Make sure to check out our guests' website, pay them a visit, and help spread the word about what they're doing. If you have any questions or know someone who should be a guest on the show, please feel free to get in touch. I would also love it if you could go to iTunes and leave us a review and a 5-star rating. We work hard to bring on some great guests, and getting a review from you is one way to help the podcast rate well on iTunes so that others can find and enjoy the show too. Thanks for listening.